Hello everyone. Today we are flattered to present our group project of this course. I am Meng Yuanyuan. My group members are Wang Jue, Wang Tingsheng, and Peng Qiulei. Now I am going to introduce our project. In 2019, lung tumor was the most common cancer in Hong Kong. Moreover, according to Global Can, lung cancer is ranked first in both incidence and mortality. But distinguishing lung cancer cells from normal cells is time-consuming and difficult. So deep learning is introduced into this field.
In our dataset, there are two types of lung cancer cells. One is small cell lung cancer, and the other is non-small cell lung cancer. In small cell lung cancer, there are two subclasses as shown in this screen. Basically, in our project, we use the bounding box to classify the cells and compare the performance of YOLO-V3 model and YOLO-X model. Since the size of the original images are so large that it influences the training of the YOLO-X model severely, reducing the image size could fasten it to a great extent. Python image library is used to realize it, and every picture size is reduced to thumbnail size in proportion after this step. And then it requires to generate JSON files to satisfy the model training, which contain the size, bounding box, image ID, and category ID for all images. While the original dataset only contains a CSV file that has related records, the updated JSON files are obtained based on this file and the newly resized dataset.
After digging into the papers about the YOLO series, we drew the YOLO feature map structure and the YOLO mapping relation diagram. There are 4 layers of CNN followed by max pooling, 2 layers of CNN and fully connected layers, which can give a 7 by 7 by 30 output after we input a tensor of image. The output layer in YOLO is activated by linear active function, and because of the 2 layers of max pooling, YOLO can only process images of fixed size. The mapping relation is shown in the right-hand side figure, as the raw input tensor can be divided into 7 by 7 grids in each channel, corresponding to the output. And the inner structure and their binning are illustrated in the left-hand side figure. By applying batch normalization, anchor boxes, convolution, and dimension cluster on YOLO, as well as modifying the model to darknet 19, YOLO V2 can predict objects with up to 9,000 numbers of classes. In darknet 19, there is a special part named pass-through layers, which can extract each area in the last layer in order to change its dimension and get final feature map. Then in YOLO V3, an evolved network, darknet 53, was proposed, which introduced the residual network and changed the max pooling of darknet 19 to average pooling of darknet 53 in the output layers. Besides, YOLO V3 can generate 3 feature maps in different sizes by using upsampling and different multiples.
Okay, now it's time for YOLOX. First, let me introduce why we choose YOLOX. The goal of this experiment is detecting lung cancer cells and classifying them into correct categories. Therefore, we can divide into two main tasks: classification and object detection. Traditionally, classification and localization parts keep coupled in one feature map in previous YOLO series, while YOLOX introduced the decoupled head into YOLO, which is a very famous strategy in recent research. The largest change is changing one FPN into 3 FPNs for various purposes. The detailed structure change is shown on the right. It first adopted a 1x1 convolution layer and reduced the feature channel to 256. After that, two parallel branches with 3x3 convolution layers are added. One is for classification, and the other one is for regression task. Furthermore, there is one more FPN for IOU in regression section. Another reason why YOLOX is selected in our experiment is its anchor-free feature. Let me first briefly explain what the anchor box is. Anchor box is a pre-calculated box by some algorithms like clustering for various datasets before the training. To let model can predicting the bounding box based on it. Obviously, anchor box model increases the cost of data pre-processing in first stage of fitting a model, for example, the time cost. Another limitation is that anchor box can only used for the datasets which is generated by. Going back to YOLOX, according to the paper, we find that one important feature improved in YOLOX is that it is anchor-free, which makes the model is more flexible and simpler. For our experiments, we adopt the architecture of YOLOX. It combines the darknet 53 backbone and with the YOLO version 3 SPP layer. Next, let my partner introduce the experiment we did for this project.
Data augmentation is one of the most straightforward ways to improve model performance, and thus, image merging and image mask are done respectively to obtain more images for training the model based on the original dataset. The part of image merging is to merge two images arbitrarily into one image horizontally, and it could generate over 400,000 new images. The part of the image random masking is to use an unmeaningful black block to mask a certain part of the images. We change the pixel values in 3 channels to 0 in a rectangle area of the image into black.
The project structure of our YOLO V3 is shown in the figure 13, which is based on manned spore provided by Huawei Cloud. We train this model by pre-process the images as Huawei manned spore dataset, with 10% repeating and dropping. As to the figure 14, on the right-hand side, it is the structure of our YOLOX project, which is based on PyTorch and open sourced by Kuangshi. We train this model without pre-trained weights and applied two different techniques we mentioned before. Here are the ways how we evaluate our models. For YOLO V3, first, we compute the total loss combining the losses of bounding boxes and labels. Second, we compute the hitting rate of the prediction bounding boxes. And at last, we calculate AP50, which means the average precision of the bounding boxes with LU larger than 0.5. For YOLOX, because we include the images and then annotations in the formation of COCO, we finally use its evaluate functions, which is more comprehensive than the evaluations made by ourselves. And shown in figure 15, COCO evaluations include 12 functions, such as the average precision and average recall in different LUs. And next is the fourth part, the results of these models. In figure 16, we can see the output images from YOLOV3 as the bounding boxes in blue are ground truth and the ones in red are predictions. It is easy to tell the red boxes mispredicted a lot. The best result we got, shown in the bottom of the figure, is the best loss equals around 20 and the best AP50 equals to 40.8% and the best hitting rate equals to 24.2%. And next, here's the output predictions by YOLOX on the same image with the last one from YOLOV3 shown in figure 17, and which seems much better than the one in YOLOV3. And the results displayed in Table 5 containing 4 controlled trials with different techniques were used. Obviously, the one with random marks only is the best, whose AP50 can reach 40.2%, while the data expanding caused decreasing in all the 4 evaluations. Now we pass the time to our group.
The YOLOX model is realized successfully in lung cancer dataset, and the performance of the average precision is better compared with the previous model YOLOV3. However, due to the limitation of GPU storage capacity, the images have to be compressed for the size being too large. As a result, it would lose some important features in the training process. So this model with present recognition accuracy is far from being practical in the medical field. Furthermore, tumor histology examination in detail is the key to treatment for patients. Each type of cancer has its particularity, and the determination of the relevant prognostic markers is essential to personalize the cancer treatment. The application of deep learning of prognostic markers is still in its infancy. The supervised learning needs to locate the cancer cells carefully in the images, while the cost of obtaining labeled data is relatively high. Pathological image recognition in artificial intelligence still has a very large upside potential.
That's all. Thank you.